Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. FOMC today, massive day ahead of us. Of course, that is in about 4 hours' time. Federal funds rates, FOMC statement, FOMC press conference. This one, just after the Fed funds rates and statement, is going to be the volatile one. So expect volatility in about 5 hours' time, around that 9 o'clock South African time. That's when the volatility is going to pick up, and some trades could be on the cards. So what I've got here is Bitcoin over here. Spoke about this yesterday, that we are getting rejected off this 114.5k zone over here. This is of course the 50% level, and wicks above it are allowed. So this is the zone here that we do need to clear for Bitcoin and close multiple daily candles above. So I thought that if we did close a daily candle, we could hit this zone over here, which was the TP of the Bitcoin long before we closed it completely over there. But after yesterday's candle, it looked like we were going to make a move, but ultimately closed below the 50-day EMA as well. So looking a little bit weak here for Bitcoin. So yeah, not great. Bitcoin below the 50-day EMA over there. Now closing the one candle. So let's see if we close more candles, then I am expecting the 200-day EMA. We're going to go into the trades now. Of course, going to go onto the 4-hourly time frame, but we're going to have a look at the rest of the crypto market before that. So what we have here, of course, spoke about Bitcoin going into Ethereum, kind of the same boat over there. ETH came nicely into the zone the previous day. We were looking for a potential move yesterday to maybe come up to here. This is still the zone that I think is a high probability short zone. So maybe we do get some good news after the the news event, or a good reaction, should I say. And then if it does come into here, then we can maybe look for a short down into that $3,600 region, which is of course the 50% of the wick, halfway of that wick over there. We of course just took the Fibonacci. When you do get massive liquidations and volume candles like this, it is often a good strategy to just go, okay, well, that's 50% of the wick. We're most likely going to fill 50% of that wick, which we haven't done yet. So I am looking for 50% of that wick to get filled. That's of course for ETH. Sol's making a bit of a push up as well, but ultimately still below the 50-day EMA over there, getting rejected 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. So I'm not really interested in Solana. It's ultimately just going to get squeezed. I think you could easily just see some choppiness in between these EMAs before we're either going to close below one or above the other, and I think that is when the move will be taking place. That's of course for Solana. Those are the blue chips. We also spoke about an XRP short, still very much on the cards, guys. I think we could grab some liquidity today. I haven't taken any of these trades yet because I do think we're going to see some volatility, maybe a nice push up, and you can take those opportunities. And I think XRP is a good one to potentially short over here. I will be taking this trade if we do come into this $2.71, then I will be taking that trade. So that is the plan for that over there. So that is the plan for those blue chips. And of course, we will be going and diving into the 4-hour time frame right now. But I want to go over S&P 500 quickly. The futures, guys, all-time highs. There's nothing bearish about all-time highs, and this is why that I don't rule that move on Bitcoin out to the zone over here. This is very much on the cards. That could line up with ETH, maybe breaking out over there. But let's see, guys. This is bullish. This is why I haven't taken the shorts yet, is because it's tough to open huge shorts when the S&P 500 is at all-time highs. It's scary. It is scary. Nasdaq, of course, all-time highs as well. Things are just moving, guys. But let's see, the dollar index, though, is looking a bit weaker. But let's see, also between those important EMAs, so you could just see a chop in the zone over here. I do want to see the, if the dollar does push up and start to close weekly candles above that 100 zone, then we could get a scenario like this. So let's move this one along over there. Or if we do get rejected from there, then I do see that the dollar coming into this major low over here. If we do zoom out over here, something like that, this would be extremely bullish. This is where you would see that major Bitcoin move, going up into that 150K would be if the dollar were to fall like this. But if we do reclaim it, we could see, potentially stock market top. But let's take one step at a time. For now, it's no man's land, not willing to trade this. But let's have a look at Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame, because the 4-hour time frame is obviously very important. So here we go. This was a trade that we did take. We did long 50% of this wick over here. Our stop loss originally was here, so we didn't get stopped out. And we did take profits straight into this 114K zone right over here. We're speaking about this 200 4-hour EMA over there being a resistance. So we took profits into there. We held a little bit, but we did close the remainder of the trade when we did take the liquidity that was obviously sitting above these candles over here. So we did close that trade. So we're not in that Bitcoin trade, but it looks like Bitcoin is finding support above the 4-hour 50 over there. A good sign would be a golden cross between these important EMAs. So if Bitcoin were to push up and start to trade around here, then what you would see is these, of course, EMAs starting to tick upwards like that. And then we could see a potential cross over there between the blue and the red, giving us that golden cross. And this is going to be the zone that we want to be taking longs in. So this is a good confirmation, guys. I really love to trade golden crosses. So this was a great opportunity over here for a short, of course, trapped below the EMAs. You dive straight through, you come up, and you often do retest. And this often acts as a magnet, this zone over here, which is exactly what it did. Did it touch it? No, but it came very close. And you can look at those situations to take long. So just because we have now touched the EMAs and they haven't crossed yet, often, if price were to be trading around here and not have touched these, then there is a strong opportunity that these are going to cross. So what I'm going to be waiting for is for Bitcoin to just, get above that 115K zone. If it can, get above this zone over here and start to close multiple candles around here, then I think a golden cross could be on the cards and we could be taking longs for Bitcoin. However, this I think is a good zone to potentially build a short over here, 114.4. This is the open and close. So if we get above it and start to close candles above, I think we can make a move higher. But if we do just wick into it and reject, then this can be a good opportunity for short. So this is what we are going to be watching when the news event happens. Of course, that 9 o'clock period, about an hour, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour from the news event. I think that is when the trade will be taken. We can have a look at Ondo now, of course. We can have a look at Ondo. But that is the trade setup for Bitcoin. And I think that, if we do get a very bullish reaction, then I think this is a great short zone over here. This zone at about the 120K. I think if we look left, if we go to the daily time frame and just look left here, this zone over here is a good place for a potential short setup. You see lots of bottoms and tops over there. And we just, we broke through over there, closed with decent volume, and we just went straight through it. So this is going to be a zone, it's 117.6K. This is a great zone for a short ride over there. And, you could be shorting this whole zone, of course, this whole zone. Let's make it like that. So I'd say between 117.5 to that, 121K zone, you can be shorting this whole zone on the daily time frame. And your short setup would look something like this. You'd be taking shorts in the middle of this box, stop loss, that 130K zone over there. And then we're obviously targeting much lower levels. And, you know, this is, of course, if you think the cycle is over, this is the trade that you want to be taking, guys. You know, that trade to that 60K zone, something like that. This would be the ultimate short. And, you know, we do want to trade, you do want to get into that short for the bear market, because, you know, the bear market takes a year, guys. The bear market takes a year, and, you know, being short for that year is so strong. And of course, you know, you make more money going long, longing things to infinity. But this is a good way to, you know, just add some more dollars to your portfolio, is having a short like this in the zone over there. Decent risk to reward, 5 to 1. If you are more conservative, you know, you can make it 3 to 1 with your stop loss at that, you know, 137K zone over there. You know, that, you know, maybe gets tagged, but unlikely to get tagged. You know, your stop loss over there, you can get a wick, but the 137K zone over there, that is a much better potential setup over there. And, you know, definitely targeting 60K. I think, you know, at least the 50% level of the whole cycle, you know, should get tagged. And that comes in at that 71K. So you'll probably see a little bit of 618, something along those lines. But that is the setup for, you know, Bitcoin, that 117K zone. So if we go back onto the 4-hour time frame, we spoke about the 117K zone. That was about, you know, this zone over here, a little bit higher. So this is where, you know, you could be getting into those shorts. And if you do get into a long, you can be taking profits, like a little scalp long over there. You can be taking profits into this 118K zone. So yeah, that is kind of the setup at the moment. You know, not too much on the cards. I'd be waiting for the news event. But let's have a look at Ondo quickly. Let's have a look at Ondo. Obviously, old trading idea here, which didn't work out. But, you know, Ondo, this does just look weak, guys. I'm not really interested in altcoins. I'm going to show you why now. We can have a look at Ondo now, but let's have a look at others first. So I spoke about others the other day. And basically, I'm not really in love with this chart at all. I do think others is looking weak. And, you know, a little bit of head and shoulders here as well. So that is something to, you know, have a look at. But what you can see for others, if we zoom in a bit here, is that there is obviously this massive zone over here, that $280 billion zone right over here, 280 billion. And what we can see is that we're about to get a death cross. So a death cross is not a really bullish thing, and of course it's bearish. So when you are below the death cross, there's a lot of resistance above us. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is that this is a lot of resistance. So it's going to be tough to get paid for longs. It's going to be very tough to get paid for longs. And I do think that 50% wick of the others is very much on the cards, guys. This is very much on the cards. So what I'm seeing is a potential move to that $200 billion zone. For others, of course, not ideal at all. But this is why I'm not interested. I'm not interested in altcoins. I'm not interested in Ondo. I'm not interested in Sui. I'm not interested in your Chainlink. I'm never interested in the meme coins at this stage. So, you know, could I be wrong? Absolutely. I would love to be wrong. If we come into that, you know, 300 billion zone and start to consolidate above the EMAs, this is going to be getting me bullish. This is going to be getting me bullish. So, you know, that is like the bare minimum that we do want to see. And that is why you can be patient, guys. You can be patient and wait for this, because it's like, okay, well, we're going to miss 10% of the move, yes, but the confirmation is what you need. I'd much rather, you know, get into a trade, a long setup from here. Let's go long over there. Once we've broken above this level and consolidated above it, yes, then we can be getting into longs in validation over there and targeting much higher levels, guys, targeting all-time highs, whatever you want to target. that is what we can do. And this is a great setup, but, you know, 4-to-1 risk reward is 4-to-1 risk reward is decent over here, but this is the, you know, this is why we wait for those invalidation points, guys. So if you want to trade it now with no invalidation, that is, you know, obviously your risk reward is much better. You know, you're looking at that 7-to-1 risk reward, but I'd rather wait for the confirmation and have a setup with a much higher win rate, and you know, take that setup over there. So that is my opinion, guys. And the death cross is scary. The death cross is major resistance, and people must be aware that, you know, this is not a good sign, guys. This is not a good sign, and it often spells trouble, right? Here we go, death cross. We had a death cross on others over here, and we didn't get above those. You know, this is the time to go long. We didn't get above there for 100 days, guys. So we basically chopped sideways. So here's the death cross, and then, you know, we got above the 200-day EMA after 88 days. Okay, so we got the death cross and only touched the 200-day EMA after 80 days. Here we got the death cross, got above the 200-day EMA at 70 days. So what I'm saying, guys, is when this death cross happens, let's say it happens in November, you can wait 70 to 80 days before getting even close to that level. So, you know, what is the point of being stuck and being anxious and scared about your long position? Maybe you're going to get stopped out, when the reality is, when you get the death cross, price chops sideways for, you know, that 80, 70 days, basically 3 months. So there's no point, in my opinion, holding any of that. What you want to see, guys, is basically a massive push up, big retest, and then off you go. And yes, there are situations where you can get left behind. But, you know, here, of course, nice bullish divergence building over there. So you can get into setups, but, you know, the death cross is something that, you know, wouldn't and should not be ignored. The death cross should not be ignored. And who knows, maybe, you know, we are in this part over here where, you know, we're going to get the death cross and then never get the golden cross again until August. I mean, this wasn't a death cross until for 530 days, guys. That is awful. That is the last thing you want to be stuck in over there. So, guys, definitely wait to get above those levels. Wait for the breakouts. Wait to make higher highs. We haven't made higher highs, so, you know, watch out. But then again, guys, the invalidation point is breaking above this level, holding this as support. And then we're going to be getting long over here and then making the most of that move. So we have to just play it as it is, guys. Trade the charts as they are, not what we want. So that is my bit of advice, you know, for the FOMC today. So look at USDT dominance as well. So we spoke about the golden cross and the USDT dominance, and we spoke about coming perfectly into this level here. Got a nice bullish reaction out of there. My bad, guys, my bad. So this is basically, you know, this is creating a higher high. This is now bullish market structure. We've broken above that level. Now we've made some higher highs or higher lows, sorry. So, you know, with the important EMAs below. So basically, this is going to be massive support. If we come down 5%, we should find support in the market over there. So basically, the bias for USDT dominance is to the upside, which is bearish for the crypto market, guys. That is why I'm happy to, you know, look at some short opportunities. Looking at some short opportunities. I would personally be shorting this whole box, this whole zone. If we come and test the 50% level again, I'd be getting in shorts from this 114.5 all the way to 120K. That is where I'd be shorting the market, guys. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave you guys there today. If I take any longs, I'll post those in the Telegram communities, of course. But guys, good luck for the FOMC today. Don't use too much leverage. Wait for those confirmations on altcoins, and do not forget about this others chart, guys. Don't get too bullish. Don't get your hopes up. Wait for the charts to give you the signals, and we'll go from there. Cheers, guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys later this week. Cheers for now.